Tips for success in the multiple choice test of the SQE. Doing well in the SQE requires a solid understanding of the course content, as well as a positive attitude, strategic planning, and thinking. In this video, we will provide you with tips for success in the multiple choice test of the SQE, which are based on a decade of experience in assisting thousands of foreign qualified lawyers prepare for the QLTS assessments, the model on which the SQE assessments are based. Preparing for the multiple choice test of the SQE. Use the suggested study guide and stick to it. Set realistic goals. Exercise daily. Read and review every book at least twice. Take breaks. Identify your areas of weakness and work to improve them. Remember, this is a closed book test. You cannot take the books or other materials into the examination room. While it is not expected that you will be asked to memorize and cite the law, you will be required to demonstrate your knowledge and understanding of the subjects listed in the SQE specification and apply fundamental legal principles. While past exams are not available and it is not possible to predict every possible question, the 30 mock tests, with 2,700 questions in total of both parts of the functioning legal knowledge exams, should give you a good indication of what you might expect to see in the formal assessments. The mock tests will also help you determine the level of thinking, recognition, synthesis, analysis, application, and the degree of difference between incorrect and correct responses. Test day. Arrive early at the examination center. Give yourself enough time to select a seat and calm down before the test begins. Don't forget to bring with you all the certificates, letters, and identification documents as instructed by the assessment provider. Make sure you are familiar with all procedures, protocols, and policies of the test. Be prepared emotionally and physically as well as intellectually. You're about to take an examination for several hours across 2 days, each divided into morning and afternoon sessions. At the same time, stay calm during the exam so you can think through the questions carefully. Stay away from others right before the test and during the break between the 2 sessions of the exam each day. Anxiety is highly contagious. It is best to focus on what you know rather than on what you don't know. Reinforce your strengths and confine your weaknesses. Bring your own lunch with you. Although the break between the 2 sessions should be 1 hour, it may be much shorter due to logistical issues. If you are coming from other destinations, plan for extra travel time. Make sure to book your flight later in the evening or the day after the assessment, as the starting time of the test may be delayed. Strategies. Plan your time and pace yourself. Generally speaking, you should spend less than 2 minutes answering each question. If you cannot answer a question within this time, skip it and come back to it later. Set progress points at the beginning of the test and use them to monitor your progress, such as know what question you should be answering within the recommended minute mark. Allocate time to review your answers. Read each question carefully. Multiple choice tests also examine your ability to read carefully and thoughtfully, as much as they test your ability to recall and reason. Questions start with a scenario. Identify which subject area the question relates to, for example, business law, taxation, property, and so forth. It might help you to narrow the choice of possible responses. The questions in SQE1 are scrambled and do not necessarily follow the order that topics were presented in SQE specification. Identify key words. Circle or underline key words such as all, always, never, must, may, none, not, few, many, some, and sometimes. Identify what is being asked and answer each question within the context of the course material that was studied. Read each of the 5 possible answers and don't just stop when you come upon the one that seems likely. There is only one single best answer out of the 5 alternatives. You need to find the best answer, not the one that is correct, partially correct, or true. Don't select an answer just because it is the longest one. Don't select an answer just because you remember learning the information in the course. It may be a true statement in its own right, but not the best answer to the question. Don't dismiss a response because it seems too obvious and simple as an answer. If you are well prepared for the test, some of the questions may appear very straightforward. Don't be persuaded by fancy terms in the question. As you read through the possible responses, mark off the ones that you know are wrong. This will save time if you have to come back to the question later. When you identify the best possible answer, carefully mark this on the computer screen. If you are unable to make a choice and need to spend more time with the question, or you have answered the question but are not sure that you have made the correct choice, mark this with your marker on your erasable board supplied by the assessment provider and move on to the next one. Avoid getting bogged down with one question part of the way through the exam. It is much better to move on and finish all those questions that you can answer and then come back later to process the problematic questions. Sometimes the answer will occur to you simply because you are more relaxed after having answered other questions. Should you change an answer? Change answers only if you have a good reason for doing so. Changing your answer from response C just because you selected C to the previous two questions is not a good enough reason, for example. If two responses appear to be equally correct, eliminate the response that appears to be the least related to the question being asked. Remember, you are looking for the best answer, not only a correct one. Some responses may be correct, but are not directly related to the question. If you are not certain of an answer, guess. There is no penalty for wrong answers. Eliminate the responses you know are incorrect. Narrow down your selection to two responses, and then compare them and identify how they differ. Refer to the general principle of law in the question. Finally, make an intelligent and informed guess by using common sense. Don't expect to know everything. It is highly unlikely that you will answer all the questions correctly. Remember that in order to pass the test, candidates must obtain the overall pass mark for SQE1. This pass mark will be determined by a standard setting panel convened by the SRA. So don't panic if you see a question you did not anticipate or prepare for. Use everything you know about the content of the course and your own reasoning ability to analyze the question and identify a logical answer. To make sure you are well prepared for the SQE assessment, sign up with QLTS and you will get access to various courseware, such as 18 comprehensive textbooks offered in a hard copy format and delivered by special courier. SQE Video Library with over 200 online tutorials available to view on a computer, iPad, iPhone or Android device. Course Handbook explaining the fundamentals of the SQE assessments, the structure of the course program, Course Handbook explaining the fundamentals of the SQE assessments, the structure of the course program, suggested study guides, and test administration procedures, protocols, and policies. Over 5,000 digital flashcards, short questions and answers on each of the topics covered by the syllabus. Revision notes summarizing the key points and main legal principles on each subject. Over 3,000 multiple-choice practice questions, each with 5 possible answers and detailed solutions, covering all SQE1 areas of practice. 30 mock tests with 90 questions each, which will enable you to monitor your progress through simulated tests, with intermingled questions and a time limit similar to the formal test. Periodic updates for the course materials. Personal consultation with a tutor to identify your knowledge, experience, time commitment, and study needs. You will then receive a personalized initial study plan, tailor-made to get you started quickly and smoothly and guide you in your preparation. 2 hours of tutor support. Our tutors will answer any questions you may have about the material during your studies. The communication with your tutors will be available via email, Skype, or a phone call, subject to requirements. We hope you found these tips useful in your preparation and planning for this test.